Welcome to Azad Bioacademy. Today I will talk about blood-brain barrier. Okay, this is very complicated one, but actually we have some misconception as like blood-brain barrier means it has a barrier wall-like substance which just separate from the brain to other part of the body. That means some wall-like substance is present. So we do have some such type of concept. Okay, but actually had some barriers, but actually not the physical like a wall. So how the brain is completely a restricted area than other part of the body, and what is called blood-brain barrier. Today I will just make you clear. So stay with me. That is blood-brain barrier. Okay. So before going to discuss the blood-brain barrier, we do have some basic knowledge on the blood vessels, the blood capillaries. Okay. Firstly, you know the artery, then smaller is arterial, and then very tiny is capillaries. If you just go for vein, then vein, venial, and then capillaries. Okay. So the blood vessels, you know, basically smooth muscle, but some blood vessels, like the smaller blood vessels, like capillaries, has some structural difference in different part of the body and different types of blood capillaries. The mostly you can consider the blood vessels or blood capillaries has three types. One is continuous blood capillaries, you can say. Second one is fenestrated blood capillaries or blood vessel, you can say. Third number one is sinusoidal blood capillaries. Okay. So why I'm just going to discuss other than blood-brain barrier, then it will make you clear before going to the blood-brain barrier. Okay. So continuous blood-brain barrier, what does it mean? Actually, this blood-brain barrier is very common within our body. Within your muscle, your nerve tissues, you can say your smooth connective tissues. Over there, the continuous blood vessels are present. Okay, so I will talk about it in later on in details. Second one is the fenestrated blood capillaries. So first of all, you have to know that what does it mean, the fenestration. Fenestration is like a porous. Okay, so suppose if you think like a net like substance, then you can say this is the pore, this is pore. So if the membrane of the blood capillaries, basically endothelial cell blood membrane capillaries is like a fenestrated. Such type of fenestrated blood capillaries are basically present in different types of organs, like your GI tract, your renal system, basically kidneys, and you can consider as your endocrine glands. In those areas, fenestrated blood capillaries are there. That means very porous, and you already think as it is porous, so different types of substance can easily pass through it. Okay, and third one is sinusoidal blood capillaries. So you know the sinusoid, different types of cell which is present in particular organ, like your liver, like your spleen. Over there, a special type of blood capillaries which has discontinuous basement membrane. That means very broken basement membrane. That means not continuous basement membrane, very porous. Okay, very permeable blood capillaries. So this is third one. So coming back to the blood-brain barrier related things, I will consider as a continuous blood capillaries. So continuous blood capillaries is present, already I said, your muscles, your connective tissues, your nerve tissues. Okay, so when you think in the brain, okay, when you think the brain, here special type of blood capillaries present among the continuous blood capillaries. So continuous blood capillaries is very much unique within the brain than other part of the continuous blood capillaries. So continuous blood capillaries other than brain has some difference. Okay, so come to the point. So you can say within your brain the blood capillaries are like continuous blood capillaries, but a special type of continuous blood capillaries other than your muscle, your other part already I said. Okay, so how it is differentiated and why it is considered, why it is connected with the blood-brain barrier. So come to the main point of blood-brain barrier. So already I said blood-brain barrier is a special type of barrier which is not like a physical barrier like a wall. So what is barrier? Okay, so I will just draw a large figure as a blood vessel or blood capillaries within the brain. No, so this is the blood vessel, blood capillaries within the brain. Okay, so my pen is not working properly. So as blood vessel, I just try to mark it in red color. So obviously I have to avoid it because of the color problem. Okay, so come to the point. Here is the blood vessel or blood capillaries of the brain. Okay, so you know blood capillaries are basically composed of smooth muscle, blood vessels, smooth muscle, endothelial layer, and there are some extracellular matrix and some other components. Okay, so here I must draw first, that is endothelium cell that will arrange and will form a endothelial cell and endothelium. Okay, so in that way over there also same. So you can consider this is the inner part, this is lumen. Okay, so within the blood, within the brain, the blood vessel, that is capillaries, is unique, already I said. So why it is unique? Now come to the point. Here within the gap, that means endothelial cell has no gap like other capillaries. Here already I marked in black color. This gap is just packed or sealed by some proteins. You can say claudine proteins, eclodine proteins, and different types of proteins which make a complex one, and that will form a seal like barrier which is present within the endothelial cell. Okay, so if I just draw for other blood capillaries, you can consider as continuous also. So this is endothelial cell, this is endothelial layer, and it has some gap. Okay, through this gap substance can go from inside to outside through this gap. So within in between the gap, so you can say this is paracellular transportation, paracellular transportation of the substance. Okay, but here within your brain capillaries has no such type of gap, because the gap is sealed by the special type of protein complex which is made up of claudine proteins that will make a junction that is called tight junction. One is tight junction. Okay, so that type of tight junction is not present rest of the body. It is not present in the blood vessel of the rest of the body. So the unique character of the blood capillaries within the brain is tight junction. So from the lumen part, suppose you can think the outside of the blood vessel, you can see these are the neuron, nerve cell. So by crossing from the luminous part to the blood vessel, then it can reach to the brain cell. Okay, so that would be the transportation. But here, no easy chance like other capillaries, because within the endothelial cell, a tight junction is present. So tight junction is just acting as a barrier. So this is a prime barrier to reach blood component from the blood vessel to the brain. And this is one of the major component which is considered as a blood-brain barrier. Okay, so this is one factor. Second one is, you know, the other capillaries, already I said, if you just draw the endothelial membrane, that membrane is somewhat fenestration. Already I said net-like fenestration. In continuous blood capillaries, the fenestration is less than other special fenestrated capillaries, but here within the brain, the blood capillaries has no fenestration. No fenestration. Okay, no fenestration. That is no pore or very limited pore. You can say no pore. So no fenestration. Okay. So another unique properties is that some other capillaries, basically you can consider as a fenestrated capillaries, has some special type of pore, and through this pore different types of substance can easily pass. Okay, but such type of facilities is absent in the brain capillaries. Okay, so no fenestration, that means no pore, no way to pass. You can consider as a no window. So no window. Through this window, anything will pass. So nothing will pass. So this is another component which just consider as a barrier. Okay. Number 3 is just the tight junction, and then no porous substances or porous fenestration. And then now third point is that this endothelial layer, endothelial cells are just arranged on the basis of a membrane, that is basement membrane. Okay, this is a continuous basement membrane, regular basement membrane, has no place which is not present. That means throughout the membrane, throughout the capillaries, a basement membrane is present. So that basement membrane, or you can say the basal lamina, which is continuously present within the brain, and that is not as like organized in the brain capillaries than other capillaries. So this is another component which is somewhat special than other capillaries, because other capillaries also has basement membrane, but like the brain capillaries is not like organized. So this is basement membrane, okay, or I can say basal lamina. The third one is basement membrane, and fourth one is the basement membrane is also covered or also just wrapped by some special type of cell. That cell is pericyte. Like, just if I draw in different color, that would be better. So that is okay. That is this. That is called pericyte. Okay, that is called pericyte. That pericytes are just maintain the basement membrane. Okay, so this is tight junction, no fenestration, and you can say this is basement membrane and this is pericyte. Okay, and that pericyte is somehow just acting as a barrier. Already I said, if anything just try to reach to the brain cell, it must cross the blood capillaries. So the barrier are this, and also the pericyte is a component you can consider along with the basement membrane. This pericyte also a barrier. So this is fourth one, and fifth one is among the pericytes and in different location of the pericytes or basement membrane, some local defense cells are there. You can consider over there, you can consider over there, and over there. A special type of defense cell, local defense cell, you can consider as a macrophage. Okay, so macrophage within the brain, a special type of macrophage that is called microglia. That is macrophage. Okay, although its function is different, that phagocyte something to prevent the other unwanted substances. That is the matter. But here, macrophage has some role to prevent or to prevent the passes of something from luminous part to out of the capillaries. So this is also can be considered as a part of the barrier. And sixth one is here some another special type of cell has some like foot like that, like that. So these are called astrocyte. Okay, these are called astrocytes. So the green color is Green color is microglia. Okay, and now here is a astrocyte. Okay, astrocyte, and this is astrocyte. So astrocytes are just like, if I just capture this pain by my, just if I try to capture this pain like in that way. Okay, so this is astrocyte, and these are the foot of astrocyte, and it will just wrap up the blood capillaries. Okay, so it will act like a physical barrier, but actually the whole capillaries cannot be possible to wrap up by the astrocyte. Almost 80% of the blood capillaries can be wrapped up by the astrocyte. So it's another major component of the blood-brain barrier. Okay, so this is also a blood-brain barrier. Okay, here are some another things which is present within the blood capillaries of the brain. That is, number 7 is P glycoside. P glycoprotein. I'm sorry, P glycoprotein. So that P glycoprotein is present in the luminar part of the endothelium, luminar part of the capillaries. So you can think here a special type of transporter is present there, a special type of transporter that will efflux the unwanted substances from here to lumen. It will just uh, efflux. That means, it will, when any endotoxins or any microorganism will just come here, unwanted substance will come here, it will just capture it and it will just efflux. Okay, so this P glycoproteins is basically just working along with the energy. That means ATP is attached with it. Okay, suppose here is the ATP that will just gain energy, and that will work to efflux the unwanted substance into the lumen to go away through the blood capillaries. That means it will not allow to pass the blood capillaries to the brain cell. So that P glycoprotein you can consider as a efflux transporter. That is efflux transporter. Efflux transporter. Okay. So this is efflux transporter. And that is also you can consider as a barrier. Okay. So how will you think? The blood-brain barrier is nothing but a special types of components which will act as a barrier or which will prevent to pass the undesired or abnormal or excessive substances to reach to the brain, and that components are considered as a blood-brain barrier. So blood-brain barrier is not like a wall, a single type of barrier. There is multiple substances which can act as a barrier. So combinedly you can say this is the blood-brain barrier. Okay, so the tight junction, which is made up of a complex protein, and that will present within the endothelial gap. So it will prevent the paracellular transportation. Although some substances can pass, but I will just discuss in later one. And no fenestration, that means no special type of pore to which any substance can pass easily. So this is also a barrier. And the basement membrane is already I said here is the continuous or regular basement membrane which can act as a barrier also, and the pericyte which is wrapping with the all of the basement membrane. That means basement membrane and pericyte also are the component of blood-brain barrier. And macrophage which is called microglia, especially for brain, central nervous system, and that is also considered as a blood-brain component. And astrocyte is one of the major component which is externally just wrapping of the blood capillaries, and that is a strong component of blood-brain barrier. And last one is the P glycoprotein, which is, you can say, as like a scavenger of unwanted substances to just take away the substance, as like a efflux molecule that will consume energy, already I said. Okay, so these substances are the component of the blood-brain barrier, or you can say considered as a part of the blood-brain barrier. So combinedly, you can say this is the blood-brain barrier. Okay, so before concluding the major component of the blood-brain barrier, I will say something about most of the brain is just under blood-brain barrier, but not all part of the brain is under blood-brain barrier. Suppose you can think about the medulla oblongata, which is outside of the blood-brain barrier. You can say the posterior pituitary gland, that also outside of the blood-brain barrier, and some other special types of transportation system within your brain from one part to another part. Like if you think from the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland, has some special type of transportation system, and not completely as like as blood-brain barrier. Okay, so the whole brain is not under blood-brain barrier, but most of the areas are blood-brain under the blood-brain barrier, because not everything is allowed to the brain, because your body is just producing different types of metabolites, different types of endogenous substances. Sometimes it produces in excessive amount, and if whole amount will reach to the brain, then brain cell will damage easily, because you know the brain is one of the most soft tissues of your body. So it is very restricted, the area within the brain that will act as a barrier from blood to the blood brain cell. Okay, so that is the main thing of the blood brain barrier. Okay, so